And here we go. We are
Yes.
live. Spotlight India. We are back. We're up early. I got my coffee. Shashwat, this is like towards the middle
I
end of
got
the
my
day for
water
you.
bottle. Yeah,
Okay, good. Good. I'm waking up and you're winding down. This is good. um,
yes.
so yeah, welcome back. I'm extremely excited to talk about this month's movie, partially because this is the first time that we've had a chance to talk about a contemporary like Indian film that's in, it's in theaters and also it's in theaters where you're at and also, playing over here in the
Yes.
States. It's actually was playing at the local AMC by my
Yeah.
house, so I was able to go
Correct.
check it out this week. And the film we're talking about is JAWAN, which
Yes.
translates to soldier, which I wasn't aware of. And it's I gotta.
You're frozen again. Yeah.
We talked a couple of days ago, and you had said that you had seen it. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, actually, you have to kind of repeat that because you got frozen again for a little bit.
Oh,
I
okay,
couldn't get.
yeah. Sorry,
Yes.
my internet is kind of like it's messed up. So hopefully we'll get through this whole conversation because it's gonna be a great one. But a few days ago we corresponded, and you had said that you had seen it 3 times. Have you seen it
Yes.
more
Correct.
since then, or is it are you capped at three?
Well, I hope that once more I get to see. In fact, it's the kind of a movie which every time like you watch it and it doesn't feel like you will be ready to watch it the next time again. So even if I watch it 10 times, I might say that I want to watch it the 11th time again. So because this is one of those rare movies which is a first for me also that even after watching the third time, it was the excitement was same when I was watching it for the first time, and I watched the first day first show, which was 7 a.m. in the morning. So that's when I watched the first show, and my God, you should have seen the theater. It was crazy. Like people are hooting, cheering. It's a festival over here. It was practically a festival.
Now, and this is no slam on the movie, of course, but I saw it. I went to a Wednesday afternoon show at the AMC, and I was the only person in the theater except for this little old guy who came in like a half hour into the movie and then sat down and he stayed for the rest of it. But I was like, what are you doing here? But I will say, I was so excited watching this that I was like during a couple of the musical numbers, I was just involuntarily like dancing in my seat. I was so excited
Yeah.
for this movie, and I was also crying, and I was also angry.
Yes.
This I remarked to Earth's Mightiest Critics and kind of our private channel after I got home. And I'm trying to pull it up here, but again, slow internet.
Yes.
But it's like a crazy amalgamation of a whole bunch of different movies, but then also flipped on their heads. And coming up with what seemed like a really original story to me. Now, I'm
Yes.
still new to Indian cinema relatively, and also to the modern kind of blockbusters. So I don't know if this is kind of standard fare or if this
Yes.
really is something new and surprising. So I'm be very interested to get your perspective on that. Also, anyone else who's watching or tunes in, please comment if you've seen Jawan, if you haven't and you want to, or what did you think about it? We'll take all your
Yes.
questions and comments in the chat. Shashwat Mukherjee, I haven't introduced you yet. Welcome back. How you been?
Yes, I've been doing good, and well, again, my terms are starting as usual. Like next trimester is starting for in my college, and again, things at IIT Madras BS Film Society is also going pretty well, and we've been having. I think you have been seeing also in Twitter like the guests who are coming next. So that like that's been going for me. Yeah, like that's how it's been kind of happening so far. How are you
Excellent.
doing?
I'm, doing okay. Life is a bit crazy. I think I told you my family got hit by COVID a few weeks ago, so
Yes.
we're fighting our way out of that. Everybody's fine, everything. It's just it's more annoying than anything else.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You get sick for a couple of days and then you're just kind of lingering coughs and trying to get your sense of smell back and all that nonsense. But
Yes, yes.
but I I gotta say I did go see Jawan, and that made me happy for about 2 days. I was on such a high after seeing this movie. Um,
Yes.
and what I want to do, I want to talk about this, but I don't think we can really without putting on the spoiler banner because there's so
Yeah,
much to
correct.
go into here. So I'm going to put this on, but high level thoughts. I loved it. You loved it. Apparently, I guess the world that knows about it anyway loves it because
Yes.
I was looking at the box office, and I think I did the calculation right. A few days ago, it was like past 121 million
Yes,
uh,
yes,
worldwide, which is amazing because I didn't see any breakdown of how it's doing in the States because I don't know how
yes,
aware people are of it, like on a mass scale here. I
yes,
feel like if it did have more of a push, then everybody would be talking about this, kind of like, RRR. Uh,
yes, yes.
but yeah,
Well,
it's
the
it's
thing
it's
is that actually, the thing is that like to actually understand this, its perspective for Shah Rukh Khan, we have to kind of go a little bit back in time, and that is like Shah Rukh Khan is the first, one of the most. Is one of the first, like not the first, but like before also actors like Amitabh Bachchan and people, they had a reach in the West, but it was Shah Rukh Khan who kind of made Indian cinema popular in the West. So, like in 2000s, at that time, I also told you about these films in our previous episode. So, like there have been few films made by Karan Johar. He's a Indian filmmaker. Which like some of those names are Kal Ho Na Ho, then Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, which had a very wide appeal to the NRIs living abroad. So NRIs means non-resident Indians. So like those are like the people, those are Indians who are living abroad. So that is the reason. So that is the reason why SRK is also known as a global superstar, because his reach is. In fact, there is also a very interesting statistic that 2.3 billion people know Tom Cruise, and 3 billion plus people know SRK. So that right now Shah Rukh Khan is the most popular actor in the world. So people know him obviously, and for sure. And the thing with RRR and Jawan, it's a little bit different, because what RRR did was that RRR was the first film which actually which actually kind of broke the barriers into the what should I say, into the exactly into the correct American market. Like the audience were not Indians in America; it was Americans in America. So that's a
right.
different thing. As compared to Jawan, which is as compared to Jawan and other SRK films, and in fact there are also other Indian films like Rocky or Rani Ki Prem Kahani, and I'm sure like these films are playing in states and in other countries in a very in a very like above average capacity. So like I personally know a few people who say that in and I'm talking about New Zealand, countries like New Zealand, where there are no Indian films playing, and even if it's playing, it's just only one or two shows. For Jawan, it was 6 to 7 shows, and all of those shows were 60 to 70% occupancy and everything. So when this like when Jawan actually released, it had the same release date worldwide. So like on 7th September 2023, it released worldwide, and in each and every country, it was celebrated. In fact, if you see Shah Rukh Khan's Twitter now, for the last couple of weeks, he has just been thanking his fans. Again, one of a superstar. That's the reason he's been doing that. And if you see countries like Estonia, then Portugal, then I can't exactly remember the names, and there is this fan club called SRK Universe, as I told about. So like they're the largest fan club of Shah Rukh Khan, and in fact, they also organized the first day first show over here in the city where I live in Calcutta. So they organized, and they've been doing charity shows and a lot of good things, and they've been like they are one of the largest fan clubs of SRK, and in fact, Shah Rukh Khan himself follows this club. This fan club, yeah, Shah Rukh Khan himself follows this fan club. So they organize these shows for for a wide variety of people, and they organized these first day first shows, FDFS as it is called popularly, and in also in Bombay, which is the film capital of the country, where actually the Bollywood industry is based. Over there, there are something known as in India. Actually, there are something known as single screen theaters. Single screen theaters, as in there is only one single screen,
Hmm.
and as compared to multiplex, which is having a lot of screens, and just like you can go into any screen where the film is playing. So Gaiety Galaxy is it's a pretty popular, it's one of the most popular single screen theaters in India, in Bombay, which is located. So they even started a 6 a.m. show, which was the first time in history for Jawan. So this is the kind of tide which it created, and this is just before the release, and people at that time didn't even know whether the story of Jawan was going to connect with them or not. Like that is the global power and stardom of Shah Rukh Khan. So just to give you an idea, and to be very honest, you have to be in India to actually understand the kind of you have to be in Bombay. Like when he comes out of Mannat's house and waves hand, millions of people are over there. Like not literally millions, but like few thousands, a couple of thousands are always. It's a tourist attraction kind of a thing.
Well, I mean, I read that Shah Rukh Khan was in the States recently, like
Yes.
making working on a movie for about a month or something in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. I don't know what the project was, but I got that same feeling that I got when I found out that SS Rajamouli had been doing screenings of RRR
Yes.
last year. I'm like, I'm in the same country as this man. It would be great if I could, meet him or just
Yes.
like be near him, because it's fascinating. I keep every time I see Shah Rukh Khan on screen. And, we talked about Fan a few months ago, and
Yes.
now this movie. I think about Tom Cruise because he
Yes.
has
Correct.
that kind of charisma. But and this is no knock really on Tom Cruise, but I think Shah Rukh Khan is a better actor, and this is a movie that really shows off the fact that he is a star, but he also can get into different kinds of characters and different modes of performance where I don't feel like I'm watching, Shah Rukh Khan or watching Tom Cruise. I'm watching the character that he's playing. And in this film, he
Correct.
plays, a few different characters, and we do have
Yes.
spoilers going on. So I found the Facebook message that I sent to Earth's Mightiest Critics after I got back from JAWAN.
Yes.
I'm gonna just kind of paraphrase it here. If SS Rajamouli teamed up with Zack Snyder for a story in which the Joker plays Jason Bourne as resurrected by the god from Moon Knight, and he teams up with Charlie's Angels for a Robin Hood style story about a social justice crusade, you'd have Jawan. Oh, it's also a musical romantic comedy featuring some of the year's best and bloodiest action scenes. And
Yes.
that's
That is like that has to be the most accurate. Like it's such a nice nutshell description.
well, and the thing is, there's so many twists and turns in that movie that
Yeah.
description is true for part of the movie, and then it becomes other things. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'd watch part of the trailer for this because I'm at the point with trailers because they give away so
Yes.
much that I'll watch like a
Yes.
minute and like, oh, I want to go see this, and I'll turn it off because I don't want it too much. The opening of this movie,
Yes.
Shah Rukh Khan plays a guy who is discovered by this village. He was,
Yeah.
unconscious. They kind of nurse him back to life. He's on the brink of death. He's all bandaged up. His
Yes.
village gets raided by these military or government operatives. They start like executing people,
Yeah.
and this one person prays to a god in their village for help, and it seems like there's lightning and everything, and then Shah
Yes.
Rukh
Yes.
Khan comes out of nowhere.
It was goosebumps. My God. It was
Right.
goosebumps.
It's
I will send
it's
you the videos actually. Like in the internet also you will see a lot of videos floating around. But like you just have to hear the hooting. My goodness, it was so much. Like when there is one shot I also remember it vividly because I've seen it so many times. So the thing is that there's this one shot where he's actually where that spear comes in and his first review shot where he's standing on top of the mountain and the music which comes in and like it's amazing. Like and then just speaking about this is making me feel like I want to watch it again.
Me too. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it's going to be in the theater by me for like one more week this coming week. And I told
Yes.
my
Yeah.
wife I want to take you to see this. I don't know if we're going to be able to find it in the schedule, but I'm going to try because
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's something that she'd love too. But no, so he comes, his body is kind of reanimated, and he attacks these people and like wipes out all of the threats. And then there's
Yes.
this little boy who says, when I grow up, I'm going to find out who you are.
Yeah.
And then we cut to, I think it's like 30 years later,
Yes. Later. Yeah.
and there's a train. We cut to a train.
Yeah.
There's all these people boarding it like a regular commuter train, and there's this team of girls that we meet, young women, and we get the
Yes.
kind of the profile. Like, this person's the techie, this person is the
The
mastermind or the
composer.
mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
Correct.
yeah. And they're planning a terrorist attack, and we see Shah Rukh Khan's character, Vikram Ratori, get
Yeah.
onto the train. He's all
Yes.
bandaged up and everything, and we think, okay, now he's going to stop them. But no, it turns
Yes.
out they're working together, and he is about to blackmail the government to restore money from loans that these poor farmers had taken out, and they're all desperate and
Yes.
destitute, and some of them are killing themselves. And so okay, so now this guy is an avenging spirit, but now he's a terrorist. What is going on here?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the person who's like the top cop in the country is sent in.
Yes.
She goes in with an attack squad. They clear out the train. Of course, everybody, all the quote unquote bad guys escape. And she's like, where are they? We cut to this women's prison, where a lot of the girls, we see them get off a bus or they sneak into the prison.
Yes.
Like, again, what is going on here? And then we see
Yeah.
the guy who is the terrorist on the train. That's not
Yes.
really his face. He's not really bald. He's, he's Shah Rukh Khan in all of his wonderful big haired glory. And he's the warden of this prison. And he gets set up on a blind date. He meets this little girl, and it's like, oh,
Yes.
it's my mom is the one that you're auditioning for me, but you're going to be,
Yes.
marrying my mother. And who's the mom? Turns out it's the top cop who is trying to bust. And I'm like, and this movie is 2.5 hours roughly long,
Yes.
and this is the first like 25-30 minutes,
Yes.
and it just gets crazier from there. And I don't know about you, but when I was watching it, there's a reveal at about the midway point of the movie where Shah Rukh Khan shows up to rescue Shah Rukh Khan.
Yes, yes, yes.
I had no
Yes.
idea.
Yeah. Yes. So like, actually the thing is that I don't know again in states about the states, but like over here in India, there is still the concept of intermission. So like there is an interval in between of 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. So every Indian film you will see in the middle point, there is, so like that scene which you're talking about, that was the intermission point. So that is where there was 15 minutes break, and when he comes in, and in fact in the print also there is like he picks up the gun and says Rathod Vikram Rathod, and then the word interval comes in. I don't know if that print is also playing in the States or not, but that was the midpoint of the film.
They did have an intermission card, but it's AMC, so they're not going to have people clearing out in the lobby. So they just said intermission, then it cut to the next scene. But it made sense, and I almost wish there had been an intermission, because the best intermissions are great kind of cliffhanger moments, right?
Correct.
And that was when he shows up. He doesn't just show up to rescue himself. He's a completely different looking personality, and frankly, that personality is throughout the rest of the film. He looks just like Wolverine. He's got the hair. He's got the cigar. In his introductory scene where he's fighting off all these bad guys to rescue his other self, which we'll get to, there's a bit where he's smoking the stub of a cigar. He rolls it back into his mouth and then punches a guy, and then it comes back out, and he just keeps smoking it. It was. I was thinking, Marvel is talking about relaunching. They've got X-Men and all that stuff. Like, make Shah Rukh Khan the next Wolverine. And that will solidify. Everybody's going to know his name, and they'll go back and watch JAWAN and be like, "Why weren't we following this guy forever?"
Yes. In fact, like those action sequences are like crazy. Like what happened during that scene when he actually enters, like with that background music, the BGM, which is called that, with that massy kind of thing which was happening. And my God, again, like in every scene where SRK was there, to be frank, in the first show, every scene people were screaming and hooting. But that is when his dad actually came in, like when Father SRK showed up with that belt and everything, with those action sequences. Like people went crazy. Like you should have been there, as I'm telling you. You have to be there to just experience that. But the thing is that, also to kind of give you a little bit more information about this, as I also told you that. In India, what happens is that India is like one of the largest film producing countries. So every year there are thousands and thousands of films getting produced, and as of now, there is not one particular Indian film industry. Like we always say that there is one particular, like these are Indian films for sure, but like their home state in which they are getting produced is what actually defines them. So the films which are actually made in the southern part of India, the South Indian films, which popularly are known as over here. So the Tamil film industry, the Telugu film industry, like for example, RRR is actually from the Telugu film industry. Jawan is from the Bombay or the Bollywood film industry. Like,
right, because RRR was Tollywood. I remember that.
Yes. It was Tollywood. But the thing is that with Jawan, it is like it is, even though it's a Bollywood film, all the like the director Atlee. By the way, did you? I bet you didn't know this, but like Atlee also shows up in the film in this song, which is the banner behind this. Like if you remember this song in Zinda Banda, which is the banner behind, there is one shot where one person comes in and just dances for a few seconds, and then Shah Rukh Khan hugs him, and then he goes away. So like that, he's the director. So the director makes a cameo.
I'll have to look for that next time I see it.
Yes.
And we'll talk about this musical number after you finish your point, because wow. But sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So like the thing is, so in these Tamil film industries, like Tamil and Telugu film industries, Their heroes, if you see a lot of these South Indian films, like I'm talking about Malayalam, then Tamil, Telugu, there are many films which are not action and which are very good. But like their action films, if you see movies like KGF, then Pushpa, these are all very popular films from the Tamil and the Telugu and the South Indian film industry. The way they introduce their hero larger than life, but at the same time you are actually kind of rooting for them. That was something which was first time, which was happening after a very long time. So not first time, after a very long time in the Bollywood film industry. And that is the reason why the film worked so well, because these kinds of hero introductions and everything, South Indian film industry watchers and South Indian people are very much used to it. But this kind of introduction, this kind of screenplay, this kind of movies, this kind of the pacing of the movie and the editing of the movie, which was not done before, not done for a very long time in Bollywood. So like even like the director, it was like for Atlee sir, like the director, it was his first Hindi film. He had made 4 Tamil films before, and if you watch those 4 Tamil films, there are many similarities with Jawan. So like there is one of his film called named Bigil, which is having a triple character. There are three triple roles. There are 3 characters, and this director is famous for making 2, 3 kind of characters, father-son relationship dynamics, and questioning the system, like questioning the government, questioning the system, questioning the authorities. And all of his films are known for having 2 to 3 films combined together for a very smooth kind of a for a kind of a high octane experience. Like you don't get the time to think about it. It's just happening one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, and it's just a high adrenaline rush kind of a journey, which is keeping on happening. And the same thing is happening in Jawan. So this is a little bit of backstory about Jawan and how it is made, and about the director.
Well, and I appreciate that that context.
Yes.
I felt like I had plenty of time to kind of absorb what was going on, even though it is a
Yeah.
very fast-paced movie. There is so much happening, but it's not action scene after action scene after action scene. There's plenty of
Yes.
drama. There's a
Yes.
lot
Yes.
of
Yes.
these
Exactly.
great kind of musical numbers, and the story. My God, we talked about Three Idiots last month.
Yes.
And in
Yes.
both that film and this film, there's a scene, a very pivotal scene, where there's sort of an emergency, baby delivery with
Yes. Yes.
with
Yes.
people who are
Exactly.
not trained to deliver babies coming together
Yes.
to make it happen. It's very tense,
Yes.
and just the levels of the reveals of what's going
Yes.
on with these characters. When we find out, Ratori's backstory, not just as he was a mercenary, but he
Yeah.
also
He was
was.
actually in the army. He was actually in the army,
Oh, I'm
like the
sorry,
Indian
not
army.
yeah, not a mercenary. I just associate with the people with the big guns going into villages and stuff. But
No,
no,
no, he
yes,
was
he
in the
was
Indian
in the
army.
army. That's correct. Thank you. I'm gonna get some of these details a bit fuzzy because I saw this
Yes.
a
Yes.
few days ago. I saw it once, and there's a lot going on. So thank you
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
keeping me on track.
Yeah.
um, but he, there's a flashback scene because when we meet him, he's this kind of avenging angel type character. He goes in to rescue what turns out to be his son. That's why there appears to be
Yes.
2 of them. But the I guess the backstory is revealed gradually. We find out that he was
Yes.
a soldier. We find out that he was, in love, and then we found out that he tried to stand up to a corrupt arms manufacturer that was
Yes.
selling, weapons to the government, and that the person who he was up against in that capacity, Kali,
Yeah. Kali.
he is now in the present day because the Ratori storyline, the backstory is 30 years ago, leading up to the
Yes.
events that began the film. But Kali is still very much, he's an even bigger, arms
Yeah.
manufacturer, kingpin. He's like the guy behind the entire government in some
Yes.
capacity, and everything's corrupt. But we see him 30 years ago as this kind of young punk who Ratori tries to say, look, you're the reason that, or your company is the reason that all of my guys, we got ambushed and all of our guns failed on us. I was lucky to get out of that situation alive. So, we don't want your contracts anymore. And he kind of, Khalid took that personally and
Yes.
had this guy, knocked off, and also his wife framed. That was
Yes.
Ashwarya,
Yeah. Ashwarya.
played by Deepika Padukone,
Yeah.
who
She is
we
again. She's a superstar. Yeah.
And I was so happy when she showed up on screen because we talked about Padmavat a
Yes.
few months ago, and I love her as an actress, and she's great. I mean, she's
Yeah.
almost like the for me she's almost like the female SRK. I can't stop
Yes. Yes.
looking at
Yes.
her, and she's also a
Correct.
tremendous actress.
Yes,
But
that is absolutely true. In fact, she has also done one Hollywood film. If you in Triple X Return of Xander Cage with Vin Diesel, yeah, she was one of the with Donnie, and in which in the third Triple X film she was there. So you
I
should watch
never
it.
I didn't bother with that one, but now I'm gonna watch it because she was in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's all I
She was
need to know.
one of the leads. One of the leads actually, like the entire movie.
But but my point is, like, it's not just a backstory, it's a backstory that leads to another story that leads to another story. I feel like there's a half hour, maybe even 40 minutes of this immense flashback, and then we cut back to the present day. So we see an entire lifetime, an entire romance, an entire tragedy play out because she, it turns out, was about to be executed, based
Yes,
on bogus charges, about to be hung. She collapses at the gallows, and it turns out she's
yes,
pregnant. Um, there's, I guess, a law, or that time there was,
yes,
that the mother has to be able to raise the kid even in the prison for 5 years, and then they can kind of resume the execution.
yes,
And they do that, and you really get the sense of, we see this, the present day women's prison. We know that
yes,
our hero is the warden of that prison, but then we
yes,
find out that he is a product of that prison, and he was
yes.
raised by these amazing women, all of whom were in some, or many of whom were led to believe were also similarly, you know,
Falsely
improperly
charged, kind
imprisoned,
of. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
falsely accused. That's why there's this whole community, and that's why as he grew up, he was able to recruit these kind of Charlie's Angels characters
Yes,
to go out into the world and try and right these wrongs. One of the things that surprised the heck out of me was at the end of this movie, there's these little themes of politics and wealth
yes,
redistribution and injustice, but in the end it's explicit, where
yes.
Shah Rukh Khan's character, I'm not even saying it's Ratori at this point or whomever, he's like, and what was his son's name, because I can't remember.
Azad
Azad,
Rathod.
right? Okay.
Yes,
um he's looking in, like, right into the camera because he's on television kind of speaking to
yes,
all of India, basically
yes,
saying, look, these are the corrupt people who've been running your, the companies that are fed into the government, and vice versa. If you really want to change things, you've got to get off your butt and go vote for people that you think are going to, do right, and who can't be bought off, if such people exist. I mean, that's a message that I think is universal. And I think especially in America, we've got our own considerable turmoils, and we're coming up into an election year. I feel like if
yes,
this movie were being put on the same kind of pedestal here in the States as, like, Marvel,
yes,
then I mean, I think it'd be kind of honestly a great message, but also a very dangerous one, because I can see a lot of people like, no, don't go out and vote. Vote for me. I'm not corrupt
yes,
at all. I love
yes,
big
yes,
business,
yes.
and big business loves you.
Yes, yes, exactly. Like this film actually, like this film actually covers a lot of contemporary issues in India for a quite some time, and that is the reason why the people also connected with it so much. And like obviously there is a lot of action and everything, but the main reason why it is such a big hit in India is because it directly spoke to the hearts of the people, and people could connect and relate to the story. And obviously messaging and everything was beautiful, and on top of that it was a Shah Rukh Khan film, so that is one thing obviously. So yeah, like, as you said, like in this is a universal message, which is absolutely true.
Well, I do want to ask you about that, because it seemed to me that it wasn't a particularly partisan message. It's not left, it's
Yes,
not right. It's essentially, do your patriotic duty, go vote, and vote
yes,
for people that you think are going to represent your interests. Because as we see throughout the movie, particularly in the case of farmers, and also
yes,
people who need medical assistance, there was a sense that everybody's bought off, and the people aren't getting the care that they need, or they're being heavily leveraged in debt. But that
yes,
doesn't seem like a left or right issue. Something that I think could play very well here in the States. Usually when you
yes,
hear, oh, this movie got a political message, you're like, okay, is it a conservative message, is it a progressive
yes,
message? I don't want to hear it. I feel like everyone could sit down and watch this and get something from it in a positive way. Is
Correct.
that your sense of it too, or has there been a
Mm.
discussion maybe in India like, oh, this is too left leaning or this is too right leaning?
Well, the thing is that to actually not, like personally for me, the like I actually didn't. Yeah, it's like as you said, that was the same thing for me. It was not too much. It was not directed towards any one particular ideology or against one particular ideology or things like that. But even but like in a country like India or in any country, many people are going to interpret it in many different ways. So yeah, there has been a a balance of, not a balance, I would say, like there has been a distribution of every people interpreting the film in their own way. And I think that is the beauty of Jawan, because like every people, as you said, all the people are finding some point to connect to without actually keeping in mind, like this movie is promoting something, this movie is not promoting something. And at the same time having a very good and enjoyable time. So that is what I think.
And we've talked about this, I think, on some movies before, but it really is, I think, a shame that more American, pictures or Hollywood pictures don't speak the same, film language as
Yes.
films coming out of India, certainly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I think it might take a little getting used to for people to see, oh, there's a musical number, or there's five
Yes.
musical numbers in this movie,
Yes.
or there's a very direct political message, even if it's nonpartisan in this film. But I think that just it enriches the overall fabric of the story. And as much as I could see someone going, I don't want to see people breaking out into song in the middle of a movie, the
Yes.
songs and the dance numbers, in this film, they're directly related to the
Yes,
story,
exactly.
and they're also
Exactly.
very triumphant. I mean, going back to the women in this prison, we talk a lot about, the kick-ass, girl boss kind
Yes.
of female character,
Yes.
which in a lot of modern, Hollywood movies pretty much just means they're kind of sullen and solemn and just like acting like a man. What I loved
Yes.
about the portrayal of the women to a T in Jawan is they retain their femininity. They're not all, stoic, but they're also, very activistic. They're very
Yes.
driven, for a cause.
Yes.
And so I can relate to all of them. I care about them. I care about their cause. And I really wanted to
Yes.
see them triumph. And it's not even an anti-man thing. It's more of an anti-establishment system that's catching everybody up in this
Correct.
net. It's so powerful that I think this is the kind of movie that the people who've been clamoring for more strong female characters in Hollywood, this is
Yes.
the template, nothing else. This is
Yes.
this is
Yes.
what we
That
need
is
to see
absolutely
moving
correct.
forward. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that is absolutely correct. Like the like each and every woman character were like they had a pretty solid reason to do what they were doing, as you said. And it was not just because, like, in recent times there have been many movies where the female characters are just there, just there, like they are not adding any value to the story. But in this film, if you like closely notice, each and every girl or each and every woman character, they have something to add to the story. Yeah, by the way, if you, again, it's a spoiler, but yeah, we are having that banner. But towards the end of the movie, if you notice, they are handed over another mission for at the Swiss bank now. And like there are theories about this, that in the next film on Jawan 2, when it comes out, it will be exploring the backstory of the techie girl, because it's the hacker's backstory. Because we saw only backstories of three girls, and the rest of the three girls we didn't see about them. So that is the reason, it's again is a way for us to even get to know the characters even better. And obviously now there is very cool Vikram Rathod too in that in that team, in that Charlie's Angel team.
Is there I mean, the movie's making a whole bunch of money, so I guess there would be talk of a sequel, but is that for sure going to happen?
Well, actually, the thing is that Atlee sir also said in his interview, like now he has been doing a lot of interviews in various press and media. So he said that, I am very much like, first and foremost, he ends all of his movies with a thing for the sequel. Like he has this habit. He also told that in one interview, and he said that, Jawan, he definitely wants to revisit, but and he has some ideas, but right now he is not sure when he wants to actually do it. But he definitely is working on it. So he has confirmed this, that Jawan 2 is happening, in a way, in a certain way. But when it is happening, nobody knows. But the good news is that we are getting to see Shah Rukh Khan again in November and in December, back to back in two different films. So
Well, I guess
it's
I know what we're going to be talking about coming up.
yeah. So one is a cameo role in a film called Tiger 3. So on January, the film which Pathan which released, it is a part of a spy universe. So like it's a all these characters, Ekta Tiger, War, then Pathan, they are all from the same universe. It's a spy universe from the Indian spy universe. So it's our equivalent of the spies. It's our equivalent of Mission Impossible and James Bond, and in that it's the spy universe of India. So over there in Tiger 3, which is starring Salman Khan. Salman Khan is another very big superstar in India and globally too. Uh, so in over there he has a cameo as the character of Pathan, and on December he's starring lead in a movie called Donkey, whose director is you I don't know if you could guess it, but whose director is Rajkumar Hirani, who is the director of Three Idiots. So so like it's a social comedy film like Three Idiots. Like it's not going to be like Three Idiots, but the language is going to be same comedy with a message like Three Idiots. So
I I feel like I'm honestly about to cry. That sounds incredible.
yeah, yes. So like again, another interesting fact is that Rajkumar Hirani had he wanted to work with SRK for a very long time, from Rajkumar Hirani's first movie, which was Munna Bhai MBBS. And Munna Bhai MBBS, again, the lead Shah Rukh Khan was supposed to play the lead, but due to scheduling issues, like Shah Rukh Khan was actually shooting a very popular film called Devdas. You should watch it. It was one of the most popular films in the West too. It's about it's a dramedy, and it's a tragedy, but like it's he plays an alcoholic kind of a person. So you should watch that. It was screened in Cannes. I think it was screened in Cannes. So that's the kind of and that film's director is again Sanjay Leela Bansali, who made Padmavat. So he worked with that. So it's a very crazy universe. Now you would be surprised that in Munna Bhai MBBS, as SRK gave up the character, the main character was played by Sanjay Dutt, who played the character of the police officer towards the end of the film in Jawan. Like there is one police officer who comes in, so that is Sanjay Dutt. And then SRK was also supposed to collaborate with Rajkumar Hirani for his upcoming movies like Three Idiots, Lage Raho Munna Bhai. But it just didn't work out. And finally they are collaborating together even after like their like it dates back to 2002 when Munna Bhai MBBS released. So now they're finally collaborating. It is going to be produced by Red Chillies only, like Shah Rukh Khan's company, and it is going to release on the 22nd of December. So it's a crazy kind of a it's the year of comeback for Shah Rukh Khan. So like that is the thing.
I gotta say the Red Chilies. You said that's
Yes.
his production company. It's
Yes.
got one of the coolest logos.
Yes.
When I
Yes.
saw
Yes.
that pop up, is like these kind of fractals, these red
Yes.
fractals that kind of form the giant chili pepper. And like
Yeah.
I loved everything. Like from the moment the company logo comes up, I knew I
Yes.
was in heaven. Um,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
um, yeah, I mean, like the other thing is, for as much as the story keeps unfolding, the action and the stakes keep ramping up. So by the time you get towards the end of even this 2.5 hours, Atlee is still finding ways to make things even more exciting. I mean, there's a highway chase, or I guess
Yes.
a
Yes.
freeway
Correct. Yeah.
chase,
Yeah.
where there's the good guys, the Charlie's Angels type
Yes.
characters,
Yes.
plus the aged
Yes.
ex-army guys
Uncles.
that
Yes.
Rattori was working with. They all get kind of brought back together because the little boy that we saw in the beginning of the film said, "I'm going to find out who you are someday." He grew up to be a guy that was on
A
Rattori's
police officer.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he gathers all the old guys back together. Everybody's trying to get to these trucks that have the ballots
Yeah.
and the voting machines,
The voting machines. Yeah.
and they're trying to hold those kind of hostage. Or that's what they want to do, because
And also
there are,
like the thing is that they actually like they did two kind of things, like the Rathod and the his dad and son, they actually stopped the money like which was carrying all those money of Kalis, and the girls and the women, they actually hijacked the voting machine by
that's right.
disguising themselves.
There
Yeah.
were two different, yeah, they were like kind of going opposite ways on the road or something like that. I
Yes.
remember that, yeah. But that heist
Yes.
is, again, amazing. You've got a guy on a motorcycle and he's like doing these crazy stunts.
Yes.
I don't know how much of this was CGI, but a lot of it looked very real to me.
And that is because the one of the world's best VFX company, Red Chillies, worked on it. Like Red Chillies is a top class VFX company. So like when they made Zero or Fan, like if you see the VFX in Fan, it was all done by Red Chillies. So like Red Chillies VFX, even corridor crew and everything, they have reacted to it. Like even they lost their minds when they saw Shah Rukh Khan as a dwarf, because they revolutionized a technique which was never been used before. And if you see some behind the scenes of Jawan, like they have not yet released anything officially, but like one of the stunt directors released one video where Shah Rukh Khan is actually jumping onto the truck. Like there is this sequence where he jumps on. It was actually nothing but just one blue mat, but everything was CG. So yeah, again Marvel from Marvel's kind of thing. It was yes.
I mean, I guess the closest comparison is the Matrix 2. There was
Yes.
like a highway scene on that, but I mean, I can't remember anything about that scene. I think if I were to imagine that, Atlee or whoever was thinking, how could we make that scene better or even more exciting? And I think they succeeded. This is again another high watermark. There's a
Yeah,
whole
like
scene.
6 action directors worked on it. 6 action directors in this film.
6.
6, yeah. Like
Well,
and quite few of them were from Hollywood. Like 2 to 3 of them for Hollywood, and rest were from India. Like Sunil Rodriguez. I have been in, like I had the chance of speaking with him for some time, like due to like IIT Madras based Film Society, and at that time he was working for Jawan. So it's pretty crazy and exciting. So like it's and they have worked in previous films of Shah Rukh Khan too, in Dilwale and other of his movies. So like 6 action directors worked on this film, and it's Shah Rukh Khan's also most expensive film till date. It's 300 crores Indian rupees. So I don't know how much that translates to in millions, but it's his most expensive film.
but I can't do the math right now either, but I would assume that because they keep talking about how successful. Yeah, I think I saw that it was approaching the 700 or the 900 crows
It is
club.
953 crores right now. Yeah, it's 953 crores right now. Like
So
the
they've
latest.
they've they've made triple their budget. Now I don't know
Yeah.
exactly how much, because when you talk about budget in Hollywood films, it's like, well, you've got the
Yes.
budget, but then you've got the marketing and all these other
Yeah,
considerations.
correct. Yeah, the same thing is also over here. The same thing.
But we're seeing less and less here where these giant movies make even the budget back, right? So
Yeah,
it's a
correct.
monstrous success, no matter how
Yeah,
much the actual profits end up being.
Yes, like in fact, Shah Rukh Khan broke his own record. Like in 2023, his film Pathan set the record, and only Shah Rukh Khan broke his own record with Jawan. Now, now we are waiting for Donkey to break this one. So
Man, that's the thing. That's the other, I think, comparison to Tom Cruise is that
yes,
even more so than a performer, he's an excellent, I think, executive producer who can bring
yes,
together
correct.
the best of the best to make the kinds of movies that he really wants to make. He's got that level of control. Again, we saw a new Mission Impossible came out over the summer, and I
Yeah,
thought it was, really fun and really great. But then
yes,
watching something like Jawan, the story is, I mean, you could take the entirety of the complexity of the plot of the new Mission Impossible, and that's maybe 20 minutes of Jawan if you were talking about, like, putting it in a time sense,
yeah,
because so much happens but it's not confusing, it's not puzzling, it doesn't feel like they cheated, it feels like they really took the time to plot out an amazing
yes.
story and then figure out, okay, now we'll figure out the stunts and the action pieces, set pieces and all that, instead of, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we jumped a motorbike off of a cliff onto a train, and now we'll build a story around that. It feels like they went the
Yes.
opposite direction, which I really appreciate.
Yes. That is absolutely correct. And like it took 4 years to make this film. Like from 2019, they have been in talks, and in 2018 December, Shah Rukh Khan's film Zero released, and after that he was at a 4 year hiatus. Like he was at a break, and in 2022, he actually made comeback by appearing in small cameos in other films, like just as a guest appearance kind of a thing. But in 2023, it was in January, from the month of January during the Republic Day, he made his comeback, and that, like, people were so much rooting to see Shah Rukh Khan in his best avatar ever, and like people, we thought that Pathan is like it's great, like it's actually really good until Jawan came in. My God.
Well, I missed Pathan at the beginning of the
Yeah,
year, um,
yeah,
but I think it's probably going to be on like
yeah. It's
one of
it's
the.
an Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's an Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. We should talk about that at some point. Although
Yes,
you
yeah,
mentioned
definitely.
it's part of a trilogy, right?
Yeah,
And the
but like
third one is
it's
going
not
to
a
be.
trilogy. It's not a trilogy, but the thing it's kind of interesting because this a situation like Spider-Man No Way Home happened. Like just like Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing Spider-Man were not connected before, but Spider-Man No Way Home kind of made the entire MCU starting from 2001. The same thing happened with Pathan. Pathan is the first film where everybody comes together. So it is not really an issue that if you don't know, like it's better if you watch Tiger Zinda Hai and Ek Tha Tiger and War, these films, but you can watch Pathan also without knowing that.
Okay, well that's good to know because I had heard about Pathan and people were raving about it, but I just missed it, so I'll have to check that out. Also, I noticed that with Jawan, one of the the kind of credits is first of all they said it was filmed for IMAX. Did you get to see it in IMAX?
No, I actually didn't see it in IMAX. I saw it in in a standard 4K theater. Not in. I saw it in Dolby, but like not in IMAX.
Well, I mean, I saw that as a credit. I'm like, okay, they're re-releasing Barbie this weekend in IMAX. Forget that. Why can't I see Jawan in IMAX? I want that to happen. But the other thing is I saw that Netflix is like the official partner
Yes,
or
yes,
something.
yes.
So I
Yeah, the
assume it's
OTT
going to
partner.
be
Yeah.
on Netflix at some point
Yes,
soon, so more people will be able to see it. Um,
yes,
I think it's a great movie no matter how you watch it,
yes,
but
yes.
it definitely
but
is a
the
big screen
but the thing is
experience.
that for that what they're doing is this Atlee has officially confirmed that the Netflix version is going to be 20 minutes longer than the theatrical version with a different rhythm and in a different action sequence. So like it will be suited for OTT watching rather than theatrical kind of thing. So it will be having a different rhythm
How do you
altogether.
feel about that?
Well, I'm actually, to be very honest, I'm very excited because right now, till now, it's the kind of like, for example, with Pathan doesn't feel the same when I watch it on my phone or on my laptop. Like because when those big moments are coming in my mind, like all those cheering and hooting are playing in, and it's very odd when I'm seeing it just like now, like just like Shah Rukh Khan is making an entry and no sound is coming. Well, the same thing could be said for Jawan, but like the reason is that Jawan's story is so much engaging that even if they release the theatrical version in OTT, it will be actually working really well. But I think they will have to, even if they don't make any changes or cuts, many of the songs which you see in the movie, those are very shortened versions from the actual thing. So those will be extended and stuff like that. Like nobody knows how it will be happening, but I'm definitely excited to see the OTT cut also. But at the same time, I also believe that they should release both the cuts, like the theatrical too and the OTT too. That's a
Oh,
better kind of a thing.
oh yeah, because I mean, some you don't see this as much anymore. It was a big thing like 15 years ago with
Yes.
comedies, particularly. You see the theatrical version, and then when they come out with the DVD, it's like the unrated, hilarious cut where just like they put in all the jokes that were too bad to put,
Yes.
alternate takes and things that kind of screwed up the rhythm of the movie. And I always hated that. And sometimes they wouldn't even include the original version. You were stuck
Yes.
with that bad cut.
Yes.
With Jawan, like you're saying, I would love to be able to watch this new version with the extra 20 minutes because I
Yes.
assume that it's all going to be great. But
Yes.
I also want to know that if I watch that, I'm like, I liked the rhythm of the original better, that I
Yes.
could go and watch that whenever I want.
Yeah, like even for Spider-Man No Way Home also they did the same thing. Like 8 to 10 months later they released the fun extended version kind of a thing. Like it was released in last September, in 2022, in last September, and the original version was released in 2021 December. So they could do something like that too. So nobody knows what will actually happen.
Well, yeah. Do you know when it's supposed to hit Netflix or?
No, no, no. Like maybe like even like I think like with the raw guess, I don't know like if it has been released or not, but I think maybe till December it should come out, or November, December it will be out there. Because Pathan was released in on January and it released on Amazon Prime in March. It was supposed to release in April, but they pushed it a month back. So like they preponed the release. So if they do the same thing with Jawan with the 3 months, so it should be then September, October, November, December it should come out.
That's great
Like,
because I
but the thing is that the way it is running, it's a very high probability that Jawan will be running till the time Donkey is releasing. So like you are watching one Shah Rukh Khan movies previous and then going to the new one. So this is a very high probability.
well that's the thing is that you mentioned that this is his comeback year, and I
Yes.
have not followed his whole career obviously because you're teaching me
Yes.
about the world of Shah Rukh Khan. He's such a presence, and maybe it's also the quality of the movies that he's in, but I can't
Yes.
imagine watching this actor and getting tired of him to the point
Yeah.
where, like, why does this guy need a comeback? He should just be, the
Yes.
man for, 2 decades.
Yes, yes. The thing is that what happened during the last decade was SRK did a lot of these experimental roles. Like the thing is that Shah Rukh Khan became Shah Rukh Khan because of his famous lover boy image. So he's known as the king of romance, the Badshah of Bollywood, because he played that soft lover boy kind of a person who's like the perfect man kind of thing. So like yeah, he's the ideal boy. He's the ideal romantic partner you could ever dream about. So that is the reason why he is known as the king of romance. Also, like one of his nicknames is King of Romance and Badshah of Bollywood. And he played those kind of his iconic, this pose of moving his hands up and spreading his arms around. So that is how it came. So like DDLJ, Dil Wale Dulhania Le Jayenge, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Kal Ho Na Ho, then Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, and all these kind of movies. He was the lover. Like he didn't used to do action. But the interesting thing is that Shah Rukh Khan said it a long time back, even in 1993, 1992, that he came to the industry to be an action star. So after 2010, he actually started doing a lot of experimental roles. So his Ravan was one film where he was a superhero. Then Chennai Express was again a romantic comedy, which was his last hit. Like it was his last clean hit in 2013. After that, the all of the movies which were in either like the complaints were that he's like, for me, I loved all of them. Like I'm always going to be. I always say this to everyone that I don't care if the world thinks it's good or bad. For me, it's going to be awesome every time. Like I am a fan of Shah Rukh Khan. So like he did a lot of these roles in Dilwale. Dilwale is it's a movie. The Dilwale, then Fan, which were very experimental roles, and it was very different from of what he was actually doing. But at the same time, those were, what should I say? Those were very niche films. The stories were extremely good. Like if you see films like Dear Zindagi, then Rais, then Jab Harry Met Sejal. These are very wholesome and very very rich story kind of very rich content oriented films. But people were not able to see the star Shah Rukh Khan. They were just going to their main complaint was it is just it looks like a mid budget kind of a movie where I don't want to see SRK.
Mm.
And after Zero released, he kind of took a break, and then came Pathan, where he was like, where his stardom became like after 50, after a very long time, his stardom became like two folds, three folds, 10 folds. Because over there, if you see these movies, he's like, you can say that he's a star. Like he's in the character, but at the same time, he's larger than life, which the people wanted to see for him for so long, and he has never done this kind of action before. There are his films like Dawn 2 and Dawn, where there are fight scenes. Many of his movies are having a little bit of fight scenes, but films like Pathan, Jawan, out and out action totally with the story in it. People are seeing it for the first time, and they're crazy, as I told you.
Well, and that's again, I keep bringing up Tom Cruise. It feels like they have these
Yes,
very
exactly.
similar paths where he
Yes,
started off in, you know, kind of like these smaller movies like The
yes,
Outsiders or Risky Business. You
yes,
wouldn't
yes,
know from looking at these movies, 40 years ago that this guy is going to be an action star.
yeah,
Even Top Gun kind of put him on the map, but that's him flying around in planes. It's not him, being an international super spy. But then he
yes,
would go and do smaller movies like Eyes Wide Shut or Vanilla
yes,
Sky. These kind of like, what are you doing, Tom Cruise? We're not used
yeah,
to seeing you like this. And now he's back kind of on top of the world. He can do whatever
yes.
he wants, making these Mission Impossible movies, but then he'll do something like
Like American
Live.
Made.
Yeah, like but like Live Die Repeat, that's an action
Yes,
movie, but it's sort of a one-off, or Oblivion, which is another great movie.
yes,
He's at that point where he can make any kind of movie that he wants,
yes,
and it seems like the movies he wants are also the ones that people really want to come to see, heavy on
yes.
action and things like
Exactly,
that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
like, but like Donkey is one of the films which like till now we don't know yet, but like since Rajkumar Hirani is the director, and it's a social kind of thing which is not action. So let's see what he brings in.
yeah, and I'm again, I'm all for that because
Yes,
even in Jawan, there's a bit of light comedy with the whole thing of the courtship
yes,
with Narmada, who is the federal agent who's kind of tasked with finding him. They kind of fall in love, and then she
yes,
finds out his secret and all this other stuff. But even in those scenes, like with the daughter and with mom and daughter, very
yes,
romantic, very sweet,
yes,
very cute. And
yes.
I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, can we just get back to the action? This is cheesy. I'm like,
Yeah,
I would watch an
exactly.
entire movie about this, this family coming together.
Yes,
Can we do
correct.
this too?
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. That is absolutely correct. It was very much fitting in the entire story. Nothing felt extended. Nothing felt forced. So it was a very good package kind of a thing.
Um, what I mean, was there anything that 'cause we've been praising this movie for the last
Yes.
hour, rightfully so.
Yeah, yeah,
Was there
yeah.
anything that disappointed you or anything that you're like, oh, this could have been better?
To be honest, none actually. Like, I am like, for me, even though I'm an SRK fan, I may be biased, but like for me, this is his best film for the last 10 years. I think. Like, there are many films like Fan and Zero which are very much content rich, but this kind of a movie where he is his best version of himself, and at the same time, it's such a deep story. I loved it. Like, yeah, there are many logical flaws, but like those logical flaws are very easy to overcome just because of the way the entire story is unfolding. So for me, yeah, there could be many flaws logically which could be said that this doesn't happen, that doesn't happen, but the way, the conviction in with which it was presented, the conviction of the director, the conviction of each and every actor, it was great, to be very honest. Like, it exactly fits in it exactly fits in for a family entertainer. I should say the word entertainer. That's a very important thing, rather than just kind of a movie just for watching.
I I can only think of one
Yes.
logical flaw, and it
Yes.
honestly it did bother me in the moment, but because I had my
Yes.
film critic hat on.
Yes. Exactly.
And I'll spoil it because we got the banner on, but
Yeah.
it's a kind of a poetic moment and it's beautiful, but it
Yes.
doesn't make any damn sense. It's
Yes.
when Kali visits Ashwara in prison when she's
Yes.
been
Yeah.
convicted, and someone says you've got a visitor, and she thinks somehow it might be Rator, her
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
husband, but it turns
Yes.
out to be Kali, and he comes to
Yes.
say to describe the horrors of being
Yes.
hung,
Yes.
right? At the end of the movie,
Yes.
Tor describes that to Kali as he's about to be executed.
Yes.
How does he know that he gave that same speech to?
Yeah, yeah, it is because since that flashback is being told by the girls to Narmada, right? So he knows the exact same story of how his mom died. So like these six girls who are there, they got to know the story from Azad, and the girls are then telling it to Narmada. So Azad is exactly telling the same thing to Kali on how his mom died, because he is aware of the entire thing, how it folded, because how the entire thing unfolded, because Azad got to know the story from Kaveri Amma, which was the jailer warden at that time. So that is the reason why he knows exactly how his mom passed away and the
Right,
exact details.
but you've seen the movie more than I, so maybe
Yes.
maybe I missed it, but I feel like in that scene
Yes.
with Ashwarya, that it was only her in the cell, Kali, and then Kali's kind of henchman. I didn't
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah.
anybody else in there,
Yeah,
so
that is
how would
correct.
that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how
Yes,
would that
yes, yes.
story
That
get
is.
out?
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't quite make sense, but I'm
Yes.
watching it and like I almost wish there had just been a shot of one of the other women like
Yes,
in an
yes, yes.
adjacent
Exactly.
cell or
Exactly.
something so they
Yes.
could like, oh, that would make sense. That's my one nitpick. What other, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this
Yes.
because we're almost, at the
Yes.
hour, but what are some of the other like problems or inconsistencies that either you notice or other people have talked about? Because I'm with you.
Yes.
I think this,
Exactly.
I think this movie's kind of perfect, but is there
Yes.
anything that I might have missed because I was so swept up in it?
Yeah, but like there, as I said, like there are many, those aren't exactly logical errors, but like the thing is, like, in such a short amount of time, 40,000 crores is being paid In reality, it is very difficult to do that. But as I said, the way it is connecting to our hearts and the way it is happening and unfolding, you actually believe that it is going to happen. That is the entire thing. Like in 5 hours, the entire healthcare of the entire country is getting changed. But that is where the beauty of Jawan lies in, that there is one small line which Narmada says, that you have started the work and it has changed and the work will be continuing to happen. That one small line actually corrects a lot of errors. So that, in that sense, I'm telling that many people were pointing out, but personally for me, it is perfect. It is one of the best ways in which is the entire thing is balanced out. And even if there is some logical flaw, and I think for you, it might be a little bit difficult, because the flaws which are actually getting pointed out, those are more of the things of how they work in India rather than
Sure.
in the world. So that is the reason why those flaws in that sense, which are getting actually released, like they're not really flaws in that way, but like you're somehow believing it. And obviously in films, there is a kind of a filmmaker's license and stuff like that, and it's not too much away from the from how the reality is presented, because Jawan presented the reality in a very good way. And by reality, I don't mean the contemporary reality, but like it is very deep rooted. Like there was one big complaint that the past few years, many of these Hindi films were not getting, they were not making as much money. Yeah, by the way, this is the year for comeback for Bollywood too. Like for the last, after COVID pandemic, Bollywood films were flopping very bad. Like if the budget is 150 crores, let's say, the movie was making only 20 to 30 crores. So this was the kind of situation, economic situation. And the main complaint of the people was that it's a world which is far too detached from us. Like we are not able to relate. But Jawan, films like Jawan, which are so much deep rooted into our like into the Indian system, the Indian diaspora, or the Indian, like the Indian states. That is the reason why people connected with it. And even if there are logical flaws, it doesn't matter. In fact, just before Jawan, 1 month back, of film, a very popular sequel, Gadar 2, released, and it also made 500 crores. And it is a sequel of a 1992 movie, and it is about, and that film didn't work very well in the overseas, but it is about the India-Pakistan rivalry, and and it is about that, and people could connect with it, and it worked like big time. Like tier in India, the box office system works in a very different way. That is, there is a tier 2 city, there is a tier 3 city, there are local distributors, there is a CPI circuit, Bombay circuit, this circuit, that circuit, and those tier 2, tier 3 cities, like tier 2, tier 3 cities, by which mean as like these cities which are not, a tier 1 city is a city like Bombay, like Calcutta, which are like, or Bangalore or Chennai, like these kind of cities where most of the businesses happen, all the big companies, and kind of a very, it's like the New York kind of a thing. Okay.
Oh,
And then
sure.
there are
Yeah.
tier 2, tier 3 cities where there where the where there might, like, for in various ways, in economic situation, in like in just in the pop culture situation, it's a lot less in those cities. These films worked really well because it directly spoke to the people over there. It connected with their hearts. So this is the entire situation why Jawan and all those films again started reworking. Like nobody would have thought that in 2023 Bollywood is going to make such a big comeback. Like and it's not small amount. It's not just recovering the budgets. They are recovering their budgets like by 5 times, 10 times kind of a thing. So if a movie is made for 100 crores, it is getting paid by 600 crores kind of a thing. So that's kind of thing is happening.
Well, and I love to hear that because we
Yes.
got the exact opposite thing happening over here
Yeah.
in the States, right? Um,
Yes.
but just in terms of like what you mentioned, yes, it's a little bit far-fetched to think that you can, have all of the hospitals in the country have all
Yes.
the equipment they need in 5 hours if demands
Yes.
aren't met. But it is kind of a fantasy. It's a fable. The point of it
Yes.
is if you have enough will, you can make anything happen.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
but on the other hand, I'm thinking, uh, well, is that impossible? I mean,
Yeah.
if there were a situation like that, I imagine there are places that have like stores of supplies.
Yes.
Can you make it happen? Is it just because the right wheels aren't being greased that we have this kind of corruption?
That is actually a very interesting experiment, to be very honest. That is like I really don't have the answer for that. But I think, like, 5 hours could change a lot. That's in fact, that's a movie idea which you gave it to me. People testing out in 5 hours if they can kind of change the a particular system, kind of a thing, if everything was in an ideal state.
Yeah, and I would not. I'm not advocating holding an entire country for ransom in order to pull out that experiment. But yeah, so yeah, I think this is a pretty good place to call
Yes.
it. I thank
Yes.
everybody who's tuned in over the course of the hour. We've had
Yeah.
quite a few viewers pop in and out, and this has been great. If again, even after this live stream goes off, feel free to drop some comments down in the chat and let us know what you thought of Jawan or Pathan or the comeback of SRK, the comeback of Bollywood.
Yes.
It's been a very great conversation. I thank you again, Shashwat, for recommending that we talk about this. Thank you to AMC Theaters for making this available 10 minutes drive from my house. I mean, it really is something to see these on the big screen. I'm hoping that, moving forward, we can, compare notes on what's coming out where you're at simultaneous to
Yes.
here, because to talk about more of these
Correct.
contemporary films, in addition to going back and looking at some of the, the kind of classic films. So
Yes.
yeah, Shashwat, what are you up to? Where can people find your stuff? Do you have anything you want to promote?
Well, right now I'm not yet making any, like, I'm not working on any film right now, but yeah, I think in the description the people could watch my old films, so they are in your description. Thank you for sharing them, and I just hope that I like when the opportunity again comes in, I will be working on something. So I do have plans and stuff, but right now I'm not working on anything. So just apart from the film society work and stuff like that.
Excellent. Well, everyone, as Shashwat mentioned, check out his stuff. All the info is down below. You're a talented, filmmaker in your own right, and I think that based on the movies we've been talking about, you've got all the right influences. You have impeccable taste.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you also find those interesting.
And my hope for you is that one day, you get to work with SRK. He's going to be knocking down your door to say, hey, let's do something.
I will be just happy to even, like, if I just get a chance to meet him. That's I didn't have the chance to meet him yet, like even see him in live yet. So I just hope that one day that day comes.
Well, stranger things have happened, as they say. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're both still alive, so that
Yes.
possibility is still there, and I'm pushing for you. Um, just make me a deal. If you do get to talk to him, just mention, hey, there's a little podcast that you do every month. You
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
pop in?
yeah. Definitely, definitely,
No,
definitely,
I wouldn't ask you to ask
definitely,
him that. I
definitely,
would,
definitely,
but
definitely.
all right, sir. Well, thank you very much. Thank you all again to everyone out there who's watched. Feel free to watch this on the replay. Let us know what you think. And yeah, we'll be back next month talking about something, hopefully with a better internet connection, because I keep. I apologize for this.
Yes.
But yeah, until next time, whatever that is. Thanks very much. Take care, and yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
And oh, I have to actually end the live stream now. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and do that.